Like, this is kind of the turning point was when I graduated from high school. And my whole life, I was like, I want to be making enough money by the time I graduated to do this full time. And I wasn't. I was still only making a couple $100 a month. So I graduated high school, and my mom was like, either move out or go to a community college. And I didn't have enough money to move out, but I hated school with a passion. But she forced me to go to community college, and that was the worst thing ever. Like, that made me hate life. Like, borderline suicidal. I just can't stand like having to just sit there and listen to this dumb stuff and listen to some teacher read out a book. So what I did was I would act like I was going to community college, but I would just work on videos in my car and edit and stuff like that. I had straight zeros. And so now the clock had started because once my mom found out, I was screwed.
Were you aware of that? Like, that you're running a risk?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I would act like I was going to college that whole time, but I wasn't. And I didn't have enough money to move out. And that was kind of when I was just like 15 hours a day, all in. I was like, I'm fucked if this doesn't work. And I had some videos pop off. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I had a month where I made 20 grand because I just had some videos just do really, really well. And then I came home and I was like, I haven't been going to college, and I moved out the next day. My mom almost had a heart attack because she didn't understand YouTube or anything back then, and she was like, man, this guy's gonna work at McDonald's. I wasted all this time. Like, I invested 18 years, and this is what I get.
Where were you living? What part of the country?
North Carolina. That's where I've lived almost my whole life.
And so, how does she feel now?
Oh, she's great.
Is she like
she's beyond happy. Yeah, she loves it. Put her in front of her friends. She loves talking about it. She's great.
I always knew little Jimmy was gonna be a success.
No, she doesn't try to hide it. We would fight all the time. Even in high school, like, I never once studied. I literally wouldn't even take my books home. Like, I legit don't think I studied once all of high school at my house. And so we would fight a lot. I didn't have the best grades, and so I would just make videos, and she didn't understand it, especially because back then it was just a whole different world. Like, there wasn't really a thing as a full-time YouTuber and stuff. And so it was a lot of arguments, a lot of drama, but it ended up working out. She's happy.
The thing is, it's like nobody saw this coming, right? So you can't blame her.
Oh, dude, especially me in like the middle of North Carolina in a small town. I had like horrible acne. I'm especially back then, really awkward. It's like no one, like people would have bet $1 million that I wouldn't be a YouTuber. It makes no sense. But I have, hyper obsession, and I love this. And, you give it enough time, anyone can solve it.
Well, there's a lesson in that for people, really. Like, to just, if you do have a hyper obsession to something, there's a lot of people that think that because they're bad at school or because they're not interested in school, that they're destined to be a loser. Yeah. And that's not true. The problem is school is too rigid. Like, regular public school system, sit down, underpaid teacher, disinterested, not really connected with the work. You're not connected with it. You just can't wait to go home and do what you like to do.
Exactly.
And you get this thought in your head like, oh my God, I'm going to be a loser. I mean, that's how I was when I was in high school. I thought I was going to be a loser.
Well, and you take it a step further, because I thought, especially if you're like extremely passionate about something at a young age, where most kids aren't, then it's more exacerbated that it's like, I didn't talk to anyone. I hardly had any friends because I was so obsessed with YouTube. As back then, just no one cared. So it's like I thought I was just like, just didn't even know how to speak. Like, literally, I just couldn't hold a conversation with a single person because people would just tell me all you talk about is YouTube, and I would try to talk about something else. But back then, I was so hyper obsessed, I literally just didn't know how to.
But what were you obsessed about? Were you obsessed about other channels, your channel?
Everything from like learning how to editing, the pacing of the videos, like ideas, what's going viral, what's trending, what's hot. Especially back then, I had no idea what worked. I mean, I had to like self-teach myself everything, even frame rate on cameras, coloring of the video, just stuff like that.
And how did you learn? Did you learn from YouTube?
Yeah, well,
so like YouTube videos and tutorials or something?
Most of my growth came actually after I graduated high school. Basically what I did was I somehow found these other like 4 lunatics. 3 of us were college dropouts, 1 was a high school dropout, and 1, I don't know, he just like quit his job. We were all super small YouTubers, and we basically talked every day for 1,000 days in a row and did nothing but just like hyper study, like what makes a good video, what makes a good thumbnail, what's good pacing, like how to go viral. And we just call it like daily masterminds. We would just get on Skype every morning, and like some days like I'd get on Skype at 7 a.m. and I'd be in the call until like 10 p.m. and then I'd go to bed, I'd wake up and I'd do it again. And we'd do things like just take 1,000 thumbnails and see if like there's a correlation to the brightness of the thumbnail to how many views it got, or like like videos that get over 10 million views is like how often do they cut the camera angles or like things like that.
Really? So you microanalyzed
Everything.
Really?
Yeah, just I mean for like we were very religious about it, and so that's where most of my knowledge came from. Is I just surround myself with these lunatics, and just every day, like we didn't do anything. We had no life.
But everybody had sort of a similar vision.
Yeah, exactly. And so we all had like 10, 20,000 subscribers when we met. And by the time we stopped talking, we all had millions of subscribers. And we all hit 1 million subscribers like within a month. It's crazy. Because it's like, if you envision a world where you're trying to be great at something and it's just like you learning and fucking up and then learning from your mistakes. Also, my mom told me not to curse. Sorry, Mom. If someone could just like edit out the swear words and give it to me.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, so I could give it to my mom to listen to. That would be great. But like, you know, you mess up, you learn from your mistake, you mess up, you learn from your mistake. You in 2 years, you know, might have learned from 20 mistakes. Or if you have like 4 other people who are also messing up, and when they learn from their mistake, they teach you what they learn, stuff like that. Hypothetically, you 2 years down the road have learned like 5 times more of the amount of stuff. So it just like helps you grow exponentially way quicker, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. So, but it's interesting that you thought about it that way in sort of a systematic approach. Like
exactly.
So it's not dumb luck.
No, I mean, it was like they say 10,000 hours in math or something. We probably put in like 40, 50,000 hours. I mean, we're talking like every day, all day, like literally nothing. We had no friends outside of the group. That was your life. And
I'm actually rereading that book right now, that Malcolm Gladwell book, Outliers, that talks about that 10,000 hours principle. It totally applies to what you did. 100%. I mean, like it sounds like you were just all day, every day, and which makes sense. And what do you have now? 90 million subscribers?
Well, we across everything, we're closing in on 200 million subscribers.
Jesus!
Yeah, because